All right, there it is. Computer's working. Mr. Pollock is here. Bob Pollock joins us from the extension. Again, brought to you by Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people. Rainy Friday morning. Good morning.
It is rainy and windy.
Yeah. Okay, so
but it's going to pass.
We're at the end of the month of November, heading into what is the Advent season. So we're looking at rain this morning, and I know that you are always interested in the rain tables to find out where we are in comparison to where we should be. So where are we, and where should we be?
We're still ahead.
We're still ahead?
Yeah, really. We're like 5.7 inches ahead, above normal. So we've received like 46.2 inches. That won't count what we're getting last night and today, of course. But as of the 20th, we're at 46.2 inches.
Yeah, wow.
Yep, 5.7 above normal. And we've pretty much just stayed there for months now. We took a little decline, later in the summer, and recently we just haven't had as much rainfall. But
so we took a ton of rain early, and then we've just gotten normal rain since that time.
Pretty much, yes.
To maintain where we are right now.
Yeah.
All right, so we're heading into a winter season when we have all kinds of different predictions for winter weather, and we always get that. It's going to be really snowy at the beginning, and then really cold, and then it's going to be no snow at the beginning, and then really snowy. And what have you heard? Does Penn State get into that sort of thing?
Not specifically, no.
Okay.
I mean, we look at what's predicted, and I've heard both ways.
So have I. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of hard to tell exactly what we should be preparing for.
When you look at those 3-month ahead predictions, it's almost a roll the dice as whether it'll be above normal rainfall or it looks like above normal temperatures. And then recently, one of the local weather forecasts had predicted, more snow, more like the winter of 14-15, I think.
I remember back in 14-15. Hey, we have a caller this morning.
So we'll see how that all goes.
Let's get to our caller. Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you today? A real quick question for Paul. My wife has a poinsettia that she kept alive from last year. It's growing fairly well, but it's not turning red. Is there some way we can get it to do that, or does it just happen naturally?
If it's in the right light conditions, it'll happen naturally. It needs at least 12 hours of complete darkness every day.
That's why.
So if it's in a bright, sunny room, and that whole procedure takes about 8 weeks, so you can still make it happen, but it probably won't happen for Christmas.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you start the beginning of October, and you put that in a dark room, say like at 5 o'clock, 5 or 6 o'clock,
and we're talking complete darkness.
Yes. Yeah, you can't have any night lights or anything. It needs to be dark. So put it in a closet, but just do that overnight for 12 hours. And
thank you, caller. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right. So the poinsettia question, we get that every year, don't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that's good. They were able to overwinter that. Keep it living, looking good. Now they just have to. So those are sensitive to light. They won't, and it's not really flowering. It's they call them bracts, but they're leaves. So there actually are flower parts there, but they're pretty.
Is that a photosynthesis thing that's going on there that causes them to change color?
Well, it's just that particular plant in reaction to those shorter daylings. Will cause it to turn those colors. And now they have all kind of different colors.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah, it really is.
So, of course, genetics involved and all that stuff, and mutations and everything.
A lot of people at this time of the year, of course, they try to time things like their poinsettias, their Christmas cactus.
Yep. Thanksgiving cactus.
Yeah. Right now, we have blooms on our Christmas cactus right now.
Mine might bloom today. They're nice big flower buds just waiting to open.
Ours are just little; they're just now forming. But there's no way you can time those either, right?
Well, yeah, same thing.
Same thing?
Yeah, light.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, so controlling that amount of sunlight and darkness will force them into blooming. Yeah, so you can control that.
Okay.
So it's being naturally controlled now. They're not quite as sensitive as the poinsettias are.
Yeah, yeah. We, of course, have all kinds of plants that we associate with the holidays, and those are two of them. In other parts of the country, they have different plants that this is their time of the year. What other plants are there that begin to bloom at this time of the year? No.
Yeah, because we traditionally think of the hollies.
Yeah.
Of course, the poinsettias, the Christmas cactuses, and of course any of the evergreens. So we've got some of our natural greens that we'll use in decorating. We'll use acorns and things, to add to those wreaths and to decorate them.
What did you think of my plan last week to grow my oak tree?
Hey,
off that acorn.
Plant the seed.
I can't find it.
You can find it. Maybe it'll sprout up somewhere and it'll be found.
I'm off next week. I might just drive down to Arlington National Cemetery and find a few more acorns.
Another. Yeah.
It might be just as easy as trying to locate it in the house.
It could be.
Yeah.
That little squirrel could have gotten it.
No. He wouldn't do such a thing. That's a national treasure. But there you go.
But fall's a good time to do that. Of course, those, a lot of those acorns will drop in the fall.
Yeah.
And then they'll get underneath leaves, and get buried. And so they overwinter. They need a cold period in order to get them to germinate.
Oh, okay.
So out in nature, that happens over our winters. So those will lay there. They'll be protected. And then they can germinate because you get those layers of leaves going up on top of them. It gives them a place to then
in the house. I'll just stick it in the freezer for a while.
Yeah, and you can stick it in the freezer or even the refrigerator.
Okay.
And that can give that stratification period that it needs. And then in the spring, then it'd be ready to plant.
Okay, we have a caller. Good morning.
Yes, you were speaking about the Thanksgiving and Christmas cactus, and I have a question, please. I have a 6-inch. And it's probably 3 years old. It'll get a lot of blooms on it, tiny blooms. It would be completely covered. If they all bloom, they all fall off except about 3 or 4. Those 3 or 4 will bloom for like 2 days, and then they're done. What am I doing wrong, or what's wrong with it?
Yeah, and that's not uncommon for the length of bloom.
Okay.
Those flowers don't last real long.
Okay.
Yeah, so depending on temperature, because if they've already formed those blooms, then we're getting the conditions that it needs to form those. So it may just be temperature, humidity, the fact that you're getting a few of them to go ahead and bloom, that's a good thing. But it may it's almost like a shock where the plant's not able to handle it all. So I would also look at, how long's it been since it's been, you've added some soil or repotted it?
I do it every spring. I add some soil to the top of it.
Okay.
Like I said, it's only about 3 years old.
Okay. Have you pulled it out of the pot and looked at the roots?
No.
Okay. Maybe do that. Just gently take it out of the container. Just make sure that the root system is good. We have a lot of lighter colored roots, and there's some of those aren't dying. Now, the plant has been putting on new growth.
Yes.
Okay. So, and the color looks good? It's good deep green?
Right.
Okay. And have you been feeding?
Just lightly, about every 8 months.
Okay. With what kind of fertilizer?
Oh, it's in that green bottle, that green and yellow bottle.
Is it a liquid that you...
It is a liquid.
Okay. You mix it up and then...
Right.
All right. Yeah, you probably could do that a little more often.
Okay.
Depending on how much of the...
Miracle Grow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. For houseplants?
Yes.
All right. Yeah, it may need just a little bit more often because there's not... In any one dose of that, if you mix it as the label says, it's really meant that you can use it almost every watering or every other watering if you want to. Because with each individual dose that you would provide, it's just providing just a little bit of nutrition. which is good because we don't overdo it. But waiting every 8 months, there's a big lag in there, and there's not enough nutrients. Now, if you were putting on one of the granular materials that had slow release capability in there, then we can spread that time frame out.
Okay.
So it could be a temperature thing too. Make sure that you've got your temperatures right. They like it a little bit cooler.
Oh, okay.
And then no big shocks to the system.
Well, I put it on my porch where it's out of direct sunlight during the summer, and then bring it into the house by a window. So that might shock it. I don't know.
Yeah, although that would have happened, you would have brought that in before it would have started the bloom process. So,
correct, right.
Yeah, I think it's just something as we get closer to bloom time there, it's not able to support all those blossoms that it's produced.
All right. Okay. We're going to have to go.
Try and see what happens next year, huh?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty. There you go. And we're out of time. It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS, AM 1160, 101.1 FM. Bill Otto, right after the news at 8 o'clock. I should say Bill Otto and Friends right after the news at 8 o'clock.